State cybersecurity analysts are inside FIFA's server room right now. French President Emmanuel Macron has officially ordered the emergency state interception of the tournament's technical servers, accusing tournament developers of executing a multi-million-dollar algorithmic data fraud that has been systematically manipulating player velocity metrics, fatigue tracking parameters, and automated performance data throughout the World Cup. The ultimatum to Zurich is absolute. Surrender all internal algorithmic source codes within 12 hours, or face a complete, state-enforced freeze on every localized communication infrastructure feeding the semi-finals. The servers are under French state control, and FIFA has no legal mechanism to retrieve them. The discovery that triggered the server interception did not come from a football analyst or a rival federation's technical team. It came from French state intelligence, a cybersecurity unit that had been monitoring the tournament's automated data infrastructure at Macron's direct authorization since the opening group stage fixtures, following preliminary anomaly flags that the French Football Federation's own technical staff had raised and that FIFA had dismissed through standard administrative review. What the State Intelligence Unit found across weeks of data collection was a pattern in the tournament's automated tracking metrics that could not be produced by neutral algorithmic processing. The player velocity and fatigue tracking systems that FIFA deploys across every World Cup fixture, systems that generate the real-time physical performance data that coaching staffs, medical teams, and broadcast analytics platforms all rely on for decision-making, were producing outputs that, when compared against the independent biometric data collected by team-worn tracking devices, showed consistent directional divergence. The divergence was not random. It was not distributed evenly across all teams. It was directional, consistently underreporting the fatigue levels of specific bracket priority nations, while overreporting the fatigue markers of their designated opponents. The intelligence brief that landed on Macron's desk described the pattern in precise, clinical language. A systematic, algorithm-level manipulation of tournament performance data designed to produce physiological narratives that serve predetermined competitive outcomes. The Élysée Palace had the intelligence brief at 7 a.m. The server interception order was signed at 8:30 a.m. State cybersecurity teams were inside the tournament's central data facility by 10 a.m., and FIFA was informed of the interception through a formal diplomatic communication that arrived simultaneously with the physical presence of French state analysts at the server racks. The decree that Emmanuel Macron issued is the first application of sovereign state cybersecurity law to the internal technical infrastructure of an international sporting organization in the history of organized sport. And the specific legal basis on which it was executed makes it almost impossible for FIFA to challenge through any available institutional mechanism. Under French domestic digital sovereignty law, specifically the provisions governing the interception of data systems that demonstrate evidence of fraud against French citizens or entities operating within French jurisdiction, state authorities have the power to physically secure and audit any server infrastructure where that fraud evidence exists. The tournament's central data management systems, which process performance tracking data for French national team players and are accessible through facilities that fall within French legal jurisdiction, meet that threshold. The interception is not an act of aggression against FIFA. It is the execution of a domestic legal mandate that FIFA's institutional status provides no exemption from. The ultimatum accompanying the interception is specific and time-bounded. FIFA must provide complete, unredacted access to the algorithmic source code governing the tournament's automated performance tracking systems, along with the full historical output logs generated by those systems across every match played in the competition, within 12 hours. The audit will determine whether the divergence between the tournament's algorithmic outputs and the independent biometric data is the product of technical error or deliberate manipulation. If FIFA does not cooperate with the source code disclosure, French state authorities will extend the interception to include the localized communication infrastructure that the semifinal broadcast operation depends on, effectively freezing the technical ecosystem that delivers the semifinals to the global audience. The algorithmic manipulation allegation that the French intelligence brief documents is the most technically sophisticated corruption claim in the history of international football, and its sophistication is precisely what has allowed it to operate. According to the intelligence unit's assessment, across the entire group stage and knockout phase without detection through standard monitoring channels. Modern World Cup tournaments deploy automated tracking systems that generate thousands of data points per player per match, velocity readings, acceleration curves, distance-covered metrics, heat maps, fatigue indices. This data is used by coaching staffs for real-time tactical decisions, by medical teams for injury risk assessment, and by broadcast analytics platforms that present performance narratives to the global television audience. If the algorithmic layer that processes raw sensor data into these outputs is manipulated at the source code level, every downstream decision made using that data is made on a false foundation. What the French intelligence analysis alleges is that certain commercial priority nations received algorithmic fatigue readings that understated players' physical deterioration, creating a narrative of superior fitness that influenced coaching decisions and commentary. Their opponents allegedly received the opposite treatment, inflated fatigue metrics that portrayed them as physically weaker before the tactical context of a match was established. The manipulation did not change what happened on the pitch. It changed how those events were interpreted. In a tournament where perception, narrative, and data-driven confidence shape decisions across the entire ecosystem, that influence could be as significant as any refereeing intervention. The financial panic created by the server interception extends far beyond the tournament itself. Broadcast networks that collectively committed $1.5 billion for premium coverage are now confronting the possibility that the product they purchased may have relied on manipulated performance data from the beginning. Throughout the World Cup, injury reports, fatigue analyses, player tracking metrics, and fitness assessments have all been built using automated tracking systems that the French intelligence brief alleges were compromised at the source. If the audit confirms those allegations, broadcasters would not have intentionally delivered false information. Instead, they would have produced accurate analysis based on inaccurate data. That distinction has become the focus of legal teams attempting to determine where contractual liability ultimately rests. The conclusions reached during this process could reshape future sports broadcasting agreements by redefining responsibility for data integrity, analytics verification, and the reliability of official tournament information. The immediate financial exposure is the suspension of $1.5 billion in semifinal broadcast rights payments while the audit remains underway. Beyond that lies the potential liability attached to a tournament-wide finding of algorithmic data manipulation. FIFA controls the underlying systems, while French state analysts examining those servers are determining whether the allegations can be substantiated through forensic review. The interception has created a broadcasting crisis on two interconnected levels. Operationally, television production teams rely on centralized tracking systems to generate player statistics, performance graphics, movement visualizations, and fatigue monitoring that have become standard features of modern World Cup coverage. With those systems under audit, broadcasters cannot independently verify whether the analytics displayed during matches are accurate. The broadcasts themselves remain technically possible, but the data that gives them of their analytical and commercial value cannot currently be treated as fully reliable. At the same time, the audience response is creating a second layer of pressure. News of the investigation has intensified existing skepticism surrounding the tournament. Online campaigns calling for viewing boycotts now cite the data manipulation allegations alongside earlier officiating controversies, further weakening public confidence in the competition. Broadcasters now face operational uncertainty and the commercial consequences of declining audience trust during the tournament's broadcast windows. As this unprecedented situation moves toward its deadline, one thing is certain: the questions raised here extend far beyond a single match or a single tournament. If the allegations are confirmed through official investigations, they could reshape how international sporting events are governed, monitored, and held accountable for years to come. If they are disproven, they will still stand as a reminder of the importance of transparency, independent oversight, and public trust whenever technology plays a central role in elite competition. The next few hours may determine whether this dispute ends through cooperation, legal action, or a deeper institutional crisis. We'll continue tracking every verified development, official statement, and confirmed piece of evidence as events unfold. If you found this breakdown informative, don't forget to like the video, share it with other football fans, and subscribe for more in-depth coverage of the biggest stories in world football. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update, and let us know your verdict in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next file breakdown.